Hello students, in this lecture I will be discussing with you about performance comparison of common emitter, common base and common collector modes of transistor amplifier. You know, I have discussed in one of my last lecture about the operation of all these three modes of transistor amplifier, and after we have gone through all those operations and circuits. In this lecture we will be observing at the performance comparison of all those circuits and their operations. So let us have a close look on this table of comparison. At the leftmost column, AI, RI, AV, RO, these are the performance quantities. You know what are those. In my last lecture I have derived all these quantities in terms of the H parameters. So current gain, input resistance, voltage gain and output resistance. Now for common emitter mode, the current gain is high. These are generally observed going by different experimental facts and analytical observations and mathematical calculations. As per those, this table has been drawn or made ready. So this AI should be for CE mode high, for CC mode it should be high, but for CB mode it is nearly unity. RI, for CE mode it should be minimum, for CC mode it should be high, for CB mode it should be low. AV, for CE mode it should be high, for CC mode it is nearly unity. That's why we have seen that CC mode transistor amplifier is alternately called voltage follower or emitter follower, and CB is having high. And the last one is RO, for which the CE mode is high. At CE mode it is high, at CC mode it is low, and at CB mode it is high. So these are the general performance observational characteristics for these three modes. Now it is evident that if we consider the common emitter mode from this table, that only this mode provides current and voltage gains greater than unity. Therefore this mode is suitable for voltage, current or power amplification, this CE mode. And the input and output resistances are intermediate than those for other two modes, that is CC and CV. And this common emitter mode amplifier stage introduces a phase reversal. You have seen in one of my last discussion about this, that there will be a phase reversal between the input and output side of the common emitter mode transistor amplifier. It is observed, and so this mode is most flexible and useful among all the three modes. Now what about this CC mode? For this mode, AI is high, the current gain is high and is approximately equal to that of a common emitter mode stage. AV is slightly less than unity, or we can say almost unity. RI and RO of this mode are respectively the highest and the lowest among the three modes. You can see RI is high and RO is low amongst all these three modes. This CC amplifier is therefore can be used as a impedance matching device or a buffer stage device. So the application of this CC mode, because of these properties, can be done at impedance matching purpose. Impedance matching, because of its high input impedance and low output impedance consideration. So for application is for impedance matching, and another is it can be used as a buffer stage. Why buffer stage? Impedance matching because of RI high and RO low, which is useful for impedance matching, this combination. And why it should be used as a buffer stage between two cascaded stages of amplification? It is buffer because a buffer means it is a transparent device. Whatever you provide at the input, it will store it for some finite amount of time, and when required it can pass the stored material through its output without any processing on that particular stored material. That is called buffering. That means it is a temporary memory device or temporary memory space. So which is having only the property of storing for some time the material which it is getting into it, but it has no such capability of doing any processing on that material. So it is a transparent material storing and shifting device or space, we can say, that is called buffer. So this buffer is having no material processing capability, hence it should not be having any property of introducing any gain into the incoming signal. Okay, so for a buffer device, its gain is nearly unity. That means since CC mode is showing voltage gain of nearly unity, so we can say that CC mode is suitable for buffer stage operation. And for impedance matching, I have already told you, this can be CC mode can be a stage between a high impedance source and a low impedance load, because at the high impedance source means it is towards this input side which is having Ri high, and a low impedance load means it is connected to the output side which is having Ro low. So because of that, it can be also used for impedance matching purpose, this CC stage. Though this configuration is not used as a voltage amplifier because of nearly unity gain, so no question of significant amplification in terms of voltage through the use of it. So it but still it can be used as a power amplifier since its current gain is large. Because of its current gain is very high, in spite of having voltage gain nearly unity, still it can be used as a power amplifier, and you know the power gain is the product of current gain and voltage gain. So this high gain and nearly unity gain will obviously make the overall gain, which is the power gain, should be little bit on the higher side. So we can say the CC mode should be applied, the CC mode of amplification, for power amplification purpose, at least power amplifier stage. So at least for this stage it can be applied. Now what about this common base mode? In this mode, it provides current gain less than unity or almost equal to unity. The voltage gain of this stage is nearly equal to the common emitter stage, which is high, and the input and output resistances of this stage are respectively the lowest and the highest of the three modes. You can see the input resistance is the lowest of the three modes and output resistance highest of the three modes. That means CE mode is having output resistance high, but still CB mode is higher than the CE mode in terms of its input as far as the output resistance RO is concerned. So as a result, this CB mode finds applications in matching a low impedance source and a high impedance load, just the reverse of CC mode. So CB mode also is been found its application for matching of impedance when low impedance source impedance between, rather we can say matching of impedance between low impedance source and high impedance load. Low impedance source and high impedance load. So that means it is just the opposite of what is happening in case of CC mode. And also the CB mode is having another application is for its voltage amplification. Voltage amplification. So the CB mode is also found in voltage amplifier stages, whereas we have seen for CC mode, preferably for power amplifier stages, is used or preferred, CB mode is preferred for voltage amplification stages. So these are all about the comparisons of these three types of modes, the performance comparison in terms of these four quantities. Now let us move on to a new topic, which is current mirror circuit for BJT. Now we know what is all about the BJT, everything about almost many things about BJT we have come across in all these lectures. Now let us see one application as current mirror circuit. So first let us draw the current mirror circuit. Next we will be seeing why and what is the purpose of forming such a circuit. So this is a current mirror circuit. Here you can see that two BJTs are actually being seen in this diagram, and for the first BJT Q1, its collector is shorted to base. So the speciality of Q1, collector shorted to base. It has happened for the transistor Q1. Now this current mirror circuit is extensively used in operation for integrated circuits. So their operations are primarily for IC applications, which is where it is based on the fact that the transistors are closely matched. So in a current mirror circuit, the transistors, that is Q1 and Q2 here, these two transistors, the connected transistors, are closely matched, and you can see the connections. A voltage is applied between its collector of Q1 and the emitter of Q1. So this is the collector side of Q1, this is the base of Q1, this is the emitter of Q1. V is applied between C and E, the collector and emitter of Q1. R1 is the collector resistance of Q1, and IC1 is flowing the collector resistance, collector current flowing through it. VB1 is the voltage across the base emitter junction. Now this is a simple circuit. Now here no base or no base bias is directly applied to the base, rather no biasing resistor is also present, but the collector of Q1 is shorted to base, it is directly connected to base, and you can see from here that since it is directly connected, this is a special type of connection, and from the collector the output is collected from the Q1, and that is applied to the input of the Q2, and its input collector of the Q1 is applied to input of Q2. So they are cascaded in some ways, that means they are connected in series, and through Q2 its IC2, its collector current is flowing. And this IC2 can be called the output current of Q2 based on whatever it is getting from at its input from the collector of the previous stage output, that means the output of the Q1. So now one important thing for this circuit, that Q1, Q2 are closely matched. Closely matching, so this close matching means that the properties of Q1 are almost matched with the properties of Q2, and including their doping profile and everything will be closely matched, and the transistor, because of the collector of the transistor Q1 is directly connected to base, so we can say that the junction between collector to base will not exist anymore. Rather, this will be behaving as a diode, because the transistor, it is having two back to back PN junctions, that means diode. If one junction does not exist, then it will be one junction remaining, and so the transistor can behave like a diode. It will no more behave like a transistor. So this Q1 now will behave like a diode whose one junction is present between base and emitter, and there a base emitter forward biasing voltage is applied. So this transistor, due to that voltage, may conduct current. So of this diode, since it is behaving as a diode, it is having an anode and a cathode. So its collector, which is directly connected to base, so combinedly base and emitter, a base and collector is working like the anode of that diode, and the emitter is working like the cathode of that diode. Okay, so the current IC1 can now be calculated. This current IC1, considering this functioning like a diode, this IC1 can be calculated as IC1 is equal to V. This is the overall voltage V, for which all the currents will be propagating through this or flowing through this circuit. So IC1 is equal to V, the overall input, minus VB1, that is the voltage between the base emitter of Q1 divided by R1. R1 is this resistance. So this V minus this voltage divided by R1, that is my IC1, because this voltage minus this voltage is voltage across this much, and this much voltage, that is the voltage across R1. That voltage divided by R1 means the current through it. So that is IC1, which is recorded here or shown over there. Now since the transistors are well matched, we can say that their properties, since their properties are matched, this VBE2 will be equal to VBE1. So VBE2, base emitter voltage of the second transistor, will be equal to VBE1 because of well matched Q1 and Q2. Now also their IC by VBE characteristics, IC by VBE characteristics are likely to be very similar, are likely to be similar. That means VB at the input, and for that IC at the output, it will behave like a diode. So we may assume that, it may seem that the VB is the voltage applied, and according to that IC will be the current that is being flown. So the VI characteristics of the diode is like, it is the characteristics between VBE and IC of the diode, and for these two transistors, since they are well matched, these characteristics are likely to be similar or same. So consequently, for this to happen, VBE equal to VBE1, IC2, this will establish IC2 will be likely to be equal to IC1 also. It is most favorable because of well matched characteristics between Q1 and Q2. So we can say that this IC2 can be assumed to be very closely related to this IC1, very closely similar to this IC1. So considering the fact, considering the operation of this Q1, we can predict or assume what is happening across this Q2, or what is all about this Q2. So we can say that since there is a chance of IC2 will be very similar to IC1 or likely to be equal, then we can say that Q2 will now function as a constant current source. So this Q2 will be providing such a current which may be a constant value, and then Q2 will be called, it is having an equivalence with a constant current source. It is equivalent to a constant current source like this one. So then we do not need any sort of emitter resistor through with this Q2 to find this Q2 as a constant current source. So this is all about the operation of, or the concept of, the basic concept of current mirror circuit. Now let us see, since we have found that Q2 will behave as a constant current source, so using this idea, let us see an extension of the fact of current mirror circuit in one additional circuitry. Suppose we are having the circuitry consisting of these three transistors. One is Q1, whose base and collector are shorted, that means it will behave as a diode, and its base is connected to base of another transistor in parallel of value Q2, and that Q2 is driving another transistor which is Q3, this one, and the Q3 is providing an output from here. So the collector of the Q2 and Q3 is connected over here. From there the common output is being taken. So this is quite an extension of the concept we have from here into this. Now here what is happening, this Q1 is being used over here, and because of the of this Q1, this Q2 will become a constant current source. Okay, so because of this current mirror, now one thing I have missed to explain, that is why the name current mirror has been given, because since Q1 and Q2 are well matched over here, and VB1 equal to VB2, resulting IC1 equal to IC2, that means their VB IC characteristics are quite similar. That's why we can say that if we put a mirror over here like this, suppose we are putting an optical mirror over here, so whatever is there happening at the left side of this mirror will be reproduced as a replica of it at the right side of it. Okay, so we can see, because the transistors are well matched, so the property of everything of the Q1 at the left side will be very well used at the right side for Q2. That's why we can say, since they are well matched in all respects, so we can see, and the left side property is being used, or left side transistors operational idea is being used for declaring the right side transistor as a constant current source. So we can say this interface will be acting like an optical mirror, and everything in the left is well matched with everything at the right, and therefore this circuit is called current mirror circuit, because current in the right side, which is IC1, is equal to current in the left side, current in the left side, which is IC2, is equal to current in the right side, which is, once again current in the left side, which is IC1, is equal to current in the right side, which is IC2. That means current at both sides are well matched and equal or similar, so they are called current mirror. Mirror means same, the object and image are same or similar with each other. Here we can say if IC1 is the object, IC2 will be its mirror, will be its mirror image. Okay, that's why this circuit is called current mirror. So here also this Q1 will be having the mirror image effect on Q2, and that Q2 will be driving this Q3, so that their combined collector will give us the overall output. So here in this second diagram we can see that a constant current source is substituted in place of a collector resistor. So here a collector resistor for this, at this area a collector resistor should have been present for Q3, but apart from that we have not placed any collector resistor over here. Instead we have placed a transistor which is behaving like a constant current source, which is called Q2 here. This arrangement gives an effective load resistance RC, because otherwise here would have been RC should be used as a collector resistance, but instead we are using constant current source, which is making the effective load resistance RC approximately equal to 1 by HOE. And 1 by HOE means what? It is the output resistance. So this Q2 will be behaving as the output resistance for Q3. Because this value of 1 by HOE is large, we can say that this arrangement will provide a high voltage gain, and this BJT Q2 will be called collector load for Q3. This will be called collector load. Why collector? Because we have replaced collector resistance RC with this BJTs, that's why it is called collector, and it is the load for Q3. So collector load for Q3, it is working as a load for this Q3, because of that this Q3 is getting the output from here, and this Q2 will be behaving as a load for this Q3, and hence from the connected collectors of Q2 and Q3 we are getting the final output from here. So this is all about the current mirror circuit and its application, and this application of current mirror circuit happens to be giving us a high voltage gain because of RC have been replaced by a constant current source, and this RC is approximately equal to 1 by HOE for this case. That means HOE means, you know, it is the output admittance for common emitter mode, and 1 by HOE means it is output resistance for common emitter mode, and this effective value is actually very large. You know, the 1 by HOE, that means the output impedance is very large value for common emitter mode, so therefore it will be resulting a high voltage gain, and this application will be providing you a high voltage gain.